Now, kids and their use of social media is an issue that seems to be getting worse, not better, despite the numerous warnings of the dangers that it poses. And on Good Morning Britain earlier this week, Martin Lewis, himself always vocal about the downsides of social media, had a suggestion.
My view is, on messaging especially, but also on social media, we should have a 9 o'clock watershed. Now, of course, it's unenforceable, but this is what they call a friction policy in policy making. If you say that no children should be using social media and messaging after 9 o'clock, what it does is it empowers parents when their kids are saying, but all my friends are doing it, to go, no, there's a watershed in place. There's a rule that says don't do it after 9 o'clock, and we're going to be following that rules. It's about trying to build in social conventions.
Well, the 9 o'clock watershed for television, of course, was first introduced in 1964, a long time ago. Should it apply to social media, Grace?
I just think it's not like the clock strikes 9 and then all the awful stuff is going to be on your social media that your kids shouldn't be seeing. Like, you could see that at 8 a.m. as well.
Yeah.
I don't really see the point of turning the Wi-Fi off. Like, I remember when I was younger, even though social media was different, I was on my phone for so long. And when my mum would walk
How
in...
long?
Until like 3, 4 a.m. Like, my mum would walk in and I'd pretend to be like passed out, and then she'd walk out and I'd go straight back on my
Maybe
phone.
that is the argument though for the 9 p.m, because you would then you'd get sleep.
It's true, but then if I didn't have the option of having my phone, I probably would have stayed awake, because I definitely have a phone addiction where I would just be like, oh my God, I can't go on my phone.
But, yeah, no, that's interesting, because maybe that's what he means, that the phone gets taken away at night,
Well,
so
some
you don't have
people
access.
do that, though, don't they? But then I feel like if that was me, I would then make up for lost time and then go on it at school.
So what would you have done if your mum had said, right, 9 o'clock, Grace, taking the phone?
I'd have probably cried and ran away.
To the end of the street.
To the end of the street, sat there for 5 minutes and come back. Yeah, I would have
Because it was a
done
bit
that.
cold.
Yeah. I think if you enforce it young, it's fine. But...
Yeah, what about you? What do you do with your kids then? Would you do that, take it away at 9 o'clock?
I mean, yeah, my son doesn't have his in his room once he goes to bed or anything, but we don't... It's really hard, isn't it? Because I have one child that's, like, so into gaming and being on, like, talking to his friends and things like that, and then I have one that's just, like, the complete opposite and doesn't have it and isn't bothered at all. But to the point where, like... My eldest son, like, last week, just suddenly, he spends all the time in the living room, like, gaming with his friends and stuff after school, once he's done his homework. And then he just suddenly appeared in the kitchen, which is unusual anyway, and we were all like, oh, Parker's here. And then he continued and went outside into the garden and played on his scooter. And we all just kind of stood in silence and watched him, and we were like, oh...
Why?
Parker's chosen, off his own accord, to go outside. And it was bizarre. And it's like, you know, when your kid's eating a bit of broccoli and you're like, don't look at him, don't look at him, don't make it out to be a big deal. And we were all like, just don't say anything, don't say... And even my son went, what's happening? Why is he outside?
Oh, my God!
And that's like, you know, he's really, you know, at school he plays all the sports, and at the weekends he plays matches, and so he's always doing stuff. But, like, you know, after school and once he's done everything, he kind of just chills and plays computer. So for him to, like, without me saying, right, that's enough now, get outside and go and do something, he did it himself.
Do you know, I feel so privileged to have had a childhood with no social medias, no phones.
Yeah.
Me too.
We did not have a landline till I was 15.
Don't confess too much, Jane.
And that was shared with the neighbours. That's a whole other story.
Loved a party line.
Yeah, loved a party line. But to be able to just go out with your mate, you'd make an arrangement, you'd meet your mates, you'd go out for the day, you know, have adventures, whatever. I know it all sounds a bit Enid Blyton, but that's how it was. And you made your mistakes without being videoed or you know, photographed or... I just, you know, I kind of feel sorry for kids today, just that everything is on this phone. And I get what you're saying, that they can look at it at any time of the day, but I do feel... It's like police officers always say, as parents, we spend all day going, don't talk to that stranger, don't do this, make da-da, whatever. And then you give them this device that gives every stranger in the world access to your child.
Yeah.
It's weird. And it's like, you know, when they're in their bedrooms, that's the worst time, because you're not monitoring them.
It is weird, and I completely agree. Like, I think it's really sad. Like, it didn't exist when I was younger, and I'm really happy that we didn't have that. But also, we do have to like, we do need to get past that, because a lot of the time Wayne will be like, oh, when I was young, I did this, and I'm like, yeah, but that was then, and this is now, and I think it's really difficult. Like, everyone has to navigate it differently, and it is here, so we need to figure it. Like, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, we need to do it. But
yeah.
I mean, like with Martin Lewis, and I get where he's coming from, and I like the sentiment. We've all agreed with it. But it's kind of sort of assuming this is a kid's problem. This is our young people, and I get what you're saying, Jane, about parents. But actually, let's be honest. This goes across society. I mean, if you look at our political situation with the amount of people on social media spouting their opinions about everything all over, misinformation, disinformation, you know, distorting the truth, etc. This is a societal problem that goes across ages. If we're pretending that this is a problem with the kids...
No, but what we're trying to do, because obviously they're younger brains, we're trying to stop impressionable brains becoming like the people you're talking about.
We can't tell them, don't do that. I mean, we did it with alcohol, don't we? You know, of course you don't drink alcohol before you're 18, but if we're all getting... I was going to say something rude there, drinking a lot of alcohol, then they are going to see it. It was the same thing to have and say. So we have to also take responsibility for our behaviour
my
without telling our kids.
Also would be, because my youngest went to a school where they didn't allow phones. And that was great, because all day they're not on their phones and everybody in their class is not on their phones, so you're not feeling left out. So that deals with the day, and then obviously when they come home at night, you say, well, you can have a bit of time on your phone, whatever. But I don't understand why that is not a blanket ban. Every school in Britain should not allow phones in the class. And I still read stories where they go, oh, this school has suddenly got amazing results because they banned phones.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I'm just looking at a statement here from the government talking about the Online Safety Act. We know some children still get round restrictions, which is why we're strengthening education in schools. Our new guidance teaches healthy relationships, helps them understand that online pornography doesn't reflect real life. But maybe I would agree with you, just take the thing away for at least 8 hours.
You're here to be educated. That is not part of it. Off there.
OK.